What's up, Logan?
How you doing?
I'm good, man. Good to have you here.
Yes, sir. Good to
Look
be
at all
here.
these medals. Logan Kypfer, he is a senior gymnast at Central High School. He's also going to state and auto body,
Yes, sir.
which those two things sound like totally different worlds, but you're doing both of them.
I sure am.
And I've got a dent in my car. He's gonna get the plungy thing and
Suck it right out.
latch onto it.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I wish I would have known you when I had a Mustang.
I know. I would have fixed it up for you, too.
Man, that would have been so cool. We'll talk about the Mustang coming up. Our Scholar Athlete of the Week from Concho Sports Network, Pixelcast Media, and Luke's Cage. That's you, man.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what all of these medals are for, each and every one of them, without taking a good look?
I used to. They've kind of all blended together since, some are from district, some are from state meets, regionals and whatnot.
Tell us about this one.
What is that one?
You probably see better than I do.
I think that was my sophomore or junior year district competition.
That is so cool. We're
Yes,
going to
sir.
go through each and every one of them.
I hope not. I don't know. I don't remember that many.
Let's talk about your gymnastics career as a whole. When did it
sir.
start?
Started in 6th grade. I never really was interested in that type of stuff. And for Christmas one year, a couple years before my 6th grade year, we had a trampoline. Spent hours on that thing. Mm-hmm. And so we were finally like, hey, let's go talk to the coach and see, if we can't do something in middle school. And we started in 6th grade. You're usually supposed to go into 7th, but he saw something that he wanted to start early. And, in 6th grade, I couldn't even do a cartwheel. And I worked my butt off, so.
I think there are people that can do a backflip and people who are afraid to do a backflip. Is that like a prerequisite? Because I tried to do tumbling when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
No, not going to do it. Could you naturally do that kind of thing without being afraid?
Before middle school, like I said, I'd spent a whole bunch of time on that trampoline, and I taught myself, backflips, front flips. I taught myself how to twist, but I couldn't go really past that until, I went to middle school. But, I did teach myself some stuff.
Who taught you the cartwheel?
Coach Aaron did.
Coach Aaron, he has a lot of great things to say about you, of course.
Yes, sir.
Says you're a great young man and a leader, among other things. But he taught you how to do the cartwheel.
He sure did.
Y'all been hanging out for a long time.
Yeah, a long time.
That's about 7 years at least.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how did you develop after you got that skill? What all other things did you start to learn how to do?
Well, he, in middle school, he had us do what were called level 4, level 5 routines. And so the routines getting us ready for what we're going to do in high school, learning how to do a handstand and how to, air awareness, like where you are in the air, and which is hard to learn in a little kid. But he did a really good job of it. So
Air awareness.
yes, sir.
How long do you have? You have what? A split half a second
Yeah.
that you're in the air, and you have to be thinking while you're
Yep.
doing that.
Figure out where you are in the air.
Yeah. What are the first things that you think about? That you learn about air awareness?
When I'm upside down and I'm not supposed to be. If I'm upside down for too long, something went wrong.
Oh. In a split second, you can think, I'm in the wrong position
Yeah, I'm
here.
facing the wrong way.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to hit on the back of my head.
Yep.
You ever think, oh,
Or how high or low you are, I'll do a backflip sometimes, and, I'm like, oh, I'm super high, and the floor hits me right away. I'm like, that wasn't right.
let's talk about all of this. When did you first win something at gymnastics? Do you remember your first moment of being a winner?
Well, my freshman year, we were kind of flooded with a whole bunch of seniors that had been there probably since 7th grade, and so they were kind of up there, and so me and a buddy of mine never really got on the podium that much. It really started in the sophomore year. We had, I think, 5 or 6 guys graduate, so we were left with a 6-man team, and that's when I really started to, pick up and work a little bit harder on, trying to place and whatnot. So
We've we've actually interviewed several gymnasts, female gymnasts.
Mm-hmm.
We don't hear much about you guys as much.
yes, sir.
But I know Central Gymnastics has been so successful. Talk about your career and the various things you've won in high school up to now and where you're headed right now.
So when I was a freshman, we won 3rd at state. We won district. We won regionals. We placed 3rd at state. after all those guys graduated, we were left with a 6-man team, and we were projected not even to get to state, maybe not even regionals. We ended up placing third at district, and we came back and won regionals, which was, I mean, unheard of for us. I mean, that was probably my biggest win of my career, was winning regionals. The qualifying score to get to state was 295. We scored 295.1. And
Wow.
yeah, we were actually, I think we finished 7th at state that year. But yeah, and I've worked a lot harder these past couple years, and I ended up placing 7th at high bar and 7th on floor last year at state. And this year I'm ranked first on state, on floor and high bar.
That's a heavy burden to carry, though. Wouldn't you rather be ranked like 20th and
Yeah,
be like,
have no pressure.
That's hard to deal with, though.
Yes, sir.
So what have you done this year, and what is coming up next?
This year I've tried to focus a little bit more on cleanliness. Last year I tried to get big skills, start value, start at a 10-0. This year I want to work cleanliness, less deductions, higher scores, maybe not a super, super hard routine, but minimal deductions. That way I can get up there. So,
Okay. So what is next for you as far as competition goes?
well, next is regionals. We're going against El Paso and Lubbock, and then after that we'll go to state in El Paso. That'll be a good meet. I'm excited for that meet.
And you said after that we're going to state, so you're pretty confident?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right.
I believe so.
We need to whip these El Paso schools. We've had some trouble with them, but we've kind of
Yeah.
in other sports starting to get a handle on it. Do you feel that pressure too? Like we got to do better than these guys.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a whole bunch of teams right on our tail, so we need to put in some work, and especially some of the lower classmen, we're trying to condition them for big meets like this because they're not super used to them. And so, we're working on, we're getting routines and we're getting judged, seeing where we're ranked in our team. And so, yeah, we're working.
Do you have any rivals, like team rivals, that you're like, all right, we're ready. We're gonna get these folks right here.
Permian's been a big one. But they've been working hard, but so have we. So we're going to see what happens.
Do you have any individuals that you have rivalries with, like friendly rivalries, or
I have, he's
some
one
ops out there?
probably
in
one of my
gymnastics?
best friends, but he's someone that I've always tried to beat. His name's Tristan Reyna. Such a good guy, such a sweet guy, but he's a very good gymnast, and he's very hard to beat.
So what all do you do? What different? I said uneven bars or something, and you said I don't do that.
No,
we were
we-
going to set some up today.
No, we do. I'll do all around. So we'll do, floor pommel rings, vault, P-bars, high bar. Yeah, I've done all around since sophomore year.
On the rings, you can get your arms straight.
I try. It's not my
man.
strong suit, but I try.
Could you always do that from junior high on?
No, I couldn't.
You really had to work extra at
Yeah,
it?
I was a scrawny little kid in middle school.
Are you do you think you have a little bit of obsessive compulsive tendencies with it? That you're always practicing or thinking about it?
Yeah. I mean, when stuff goes really, really well, it's kind of addicting. You want to get that feeling again. When you get big skills, you catch a release or you throw a big dismount. It's exhilarating. You want that feeling again. So I do chase it quite often.
When you do the vault, what's going through your mind as you?
Steps. If I mess up
Steps.
my steps, then everything else is wrong. So I always try to make sure my steps are right.
I've always said in any sport, stutter stepping is a bad idea.
It is.
When you
It
lose
sure
your
is.
momentum.
Yep.
Did you have any heroes in gymnastics?
I didn't start to watch like upper class gymnastics until maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And when I did, Sam McCulloch was a big one. Now recently, Asher Hong or like some of the Japanese like Haki Dashimoto, he's a big one. But those guys are just insane, Another one's Ian Gunther or Shane Wiskus, those are big guys. So
What about Mary Lou Retton?
I never grew up with her.
I know. See, everybody's a gymnastics fan once the Olympics roll around. Everybody's on the edge of their seat. And
Yep.
even though the Russians weren't there, but back in the day, and Carrie Strug doing it's the females, they seem to get the focus.
Yeah, they sure do.
She's injured and does the vault and all that kind of
I
stuff.
remember
but,
that.
The guys need some attention too. That's why you
sure
need to
do.
watch. I got a movie for you to watch. Jim Cotta.
Really?
I think. Oh, I'm trying to think of his name. It's the guy that married Nadia Comaneci, I think.
Interesting.
He was a martial artist. Gymnast movie. Cheesy 80s. Combines both of them. You know, you're going to vault and get a bad guy. So
Oh, yeah.
that's my recommendation. Let's talk about, as a scholar athlete, scholar, you have a favorite subject in school, and how's things going with all that?
Well, you know, academics wasn't a huge part, but I have tried, you know, to keep my grades up. But math has always been something that I've come by kind of naturally. So English, not too much. But
Another scholar athlete that's a math person. Just seems like 99% of y'all are more math than English or history oriented.
Yep, I like numbers a lot.
Right brain, and that goes with the steps and all of that kind of stuff too.
Analytical, or even physics. I took physics my sophomore year. I love physics.
That applies.
So, yes, sir.
That applies to gymnastics. So where do you go from here? From not competition here, but after high school.
I've got a couple options. I could take over a painting job, painting cars at Caliber Collision, or after my auto body teacher retires, he's going to take over a shop, and I could paint for him. So.
And you're going to state in auto body. Is this your first trip?
No, I've qualified for state 3 years. All 3 years I've been in auto body, I've qualified for state. But last year, I couldn't make it to state because of regionals for gymnastics. So
that's a nice problem to have, isn't it? You're winning at more than one thing.
Oh, I know. No, but this will be my second year going to state. So
let's talk about the auto body and the Mustang. Tell us the story of the Mustang.
Oh, man. You know, I was 14 years old, and I loved cars. My brother and dad both worked on dirt bikes and cars and everything. And so, I was introduced to that pretty early on. And, you know, I started to watch videos of Mustangs. I was like, I want one so bad. And so, you know, we started looking on Facebook Marketplace or, like, reaching out to people. And there ended up being one. He was wrecked. She crashed into a side rail going 65. And he was like, you know, I'll sell it to you for $400. And so I sold, you know, all my belongings to save up for it. And I ended up buying it, and it came on a flatbed trailer. It didn't run, didn't have a front end. Both windshields were busted in and airbags were blown. I mean, goats were climbing all over it. So the paint was, you know, all
goats?
up. Yeah. It was sitting in a junkyard for 10 years.
Did they eat the seats? Because goats
No,
eat anything.
you know, they never got inside. But yeah.
So it looks a bit different.
It sure does.
And that was your personal project.
Yep, it sure was.
That's a good future, though. You're already talking about jobs that you can do. You can do quite well with that. How hard is it to get a dent out of a vehicle? Is it simple at times, really bad at times?
It depends, you know. If it's on a body line, you know, kind of butts up, you got to shape that body line again, which is kind of tedious. But you know, overall, it's not too bad as long as you can get to the back of the panel.
Can you chop a car up?
Yeah, I have before. So.
That's amazing.
Yes, sir.
So what do you do? That's more of a hobby, though, that you're good at and compete at, too.
Yeah. It started off as a hobby. I wanted to do something with cars as a job. And so when I went into my sophomore year, I had an option between, you know, taking the mechanics class or the auto body class. And mechanics wasn't super confusing, but it never really piqued my interest like painting did. And so I went into auto body, and it just took off. So...
And you said you're not as schooled on the mechanics side, more of the body.
Yeah, I mean, I can still do some mechanic work, but I'm not as talented as my brother and, you know, my dad are. So
they can get out there and fix it up under the shade tree and with a chain.
Oh, yeah. No, they've done that before.
So do you have other interests besides gymnastics and auto body, like music, friends, games?
You know, hanging out with friends is always nice. But ever since I was real little, maybe 2 or 3 years old, I've bowled.
Really?
Yeah, I've raised over $3,000 in scholarship money from tournaments I've bowled in.
Do you do that pretty often?
Yeah, I try to go 3 or 4 times a week.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. You ever do the midnight bowling when they have that kind of thing with the...
No, it wasn't super big as I grew up, but, you know, my parents did. That was their little date night, so.
Cool. And is Mom here with you today?
Yeah, she sure is.
Hi, Mom. You going to shout out to any family, friends?
The guys on the team, you know, they pushed me, I pushed them, or especially Coach Harriet, or especially Mr. Rolwitz, my auto body teacher. You know, I want to shout out him. He's the only reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. So.
Do you have any nicknames that you use? Anybody call you?
Coach calls me Logue.
Okay. Logue.
Yeah.
Well, our Scholar Athlete of the Week from
Yes,
Luke
sir.
Cage and Pixelcast Media, Concho Sports Network, Logan Kypfer, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks,
Thanks,
you.
Mom. You going to take her riding in the Mustang? Y'all go cruising around?
Yeah, I'm painting her hood this weekend.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I wish I would have known you when I had a Mustang, man. You could hear me coming from miles away. Well, thank you, and best
Yes,
of
sir.
luck, man.
Thank you,
always
sir.
always
I
be a
appreciate
friend.
it.
Come say hi. Our Scholar Athlete of the Week,
Yes, sir.
Concho Sports. Thank you very much for being on with us today,
Yes, sir.
Logan.
Of course.